Sure, Mum. What about the drink? Would you rather have iced tea or Coke? If you want, wish, would like to tell me something, wait until I'm in a better mood, please. Well, she doesn't want to talk about anything besides her party and her divorce. Will, or would you switch on the light, please?
She wanted to finish university as soon as possible because she wanted to get married.
The door's locked. It will not open.
She wants to go to the hairstylist to look nice for tonight's party.
Anything else about these verbs expressing will and desire?
Let me think. It seems to me something is missing. Oh yes, a special construction of to wish. In fact, it's the most common use of the verb. I wish I had finished this unit because it's getting more and more difficult. Don't you think so, Aileen?
Don't exaggerate, William. You look very capable.
Well, how would you explain this construction?
I dare say the one that's coming next is a really complicated construction. But I'll try.
Well, I'll start then. When you use wish to mean that you would like things to be different from the way they are, you must pay particular attention to the tense of the verb that follows.
She is not happy. Present simple. I wish she was or were happy. Past simple. They have already seen the film. Present perfect. But they didn't like it. He wishes he hadn't seen the film. Past perfect.
I wish the explanation were or was clearer.
It is clear. You've just used it.
I know, but I do think it would be better for our students to do some exercises to make sure they have understood.
Complete and put the correct sequence of tenses.
Oh, I wish I didn't have such a crazy mother. I wish I didn't have to be here tonight.
I just wish you were firmer with her.
I'm going to do it. Sometimes I wish I were a little girl and didn't have to make decisions.
I wish I could help you more. Choose the correct sentence. I want you to go to the cinema tonight, not tomorrow night. I want you all to understand the lesson.
I wish he had finished his homework, but he didn't.
How many exercises do you expect him to prepare by tomorrow?
There are so many things I would like you to know.
I want you to tell her now, not later on.
Let's do a few more exercises with modal auxiliary verbs.
Fill in the blanks with a modal auxiliary verb.
I don't dare to speak to her about us. You can always calm me down.
You needn't be so nervous. I am here to calm you down. You must, or ought to, try to speak to your mother to explain to her about our decision. Alice couldn't go with Moira to the university because she was waiting for David to come. We daren't say that until we are sure of our success. All of, some of, none of.
All of my best friends are coming.
Remember that when all comes before another determiner, we can say all or all of.
All of my best friends are coming.
When all comes before a pronoun, of is obligatory.
I haven't read all of them. He talked to all of us.
This is the rule for the use of other determiners as well.
Note the following construction. Determiner plus of plus pronoun. Note the following. Both of, neither of, most of, some of, any of, none of, etc.
Most of them came to the party. Neither of us did the homework.
Why don't you talk to both of them?
Some of us have to leave early. I saw 10 people in the lift. None of them was a girl.
This construction is also used when talking about the number of people in a group.
There are 5 of us in our family.
Answer the following sentences using the key words.
Where are Charles and Alice's letters? None of them are in the drawer.
Where are the 9 bottles I bought yesterday?
All of them are on the shelf.
Do you think all Mom's friends will be at her party?
I think most of Mom's friends will be at her party.
Do you think they will drink all these alcoholic drinks?
I think they will drink only some of these alcoholic drinks.
How many of these young people go to school?
All of them go to school.
Notice these slight differences. Alone, lonely, by myself, and only.
Expressions. To do something by oneself, by myself, by yourself, by himself, by herself, etc.
I need to be alone. I don't want anybody to stay with me.
Carolyn is a lonely girl. She feels alone in the world and thinks she has no friends.
I can go by myself, alone. I don't need company. She is only a junior. She is nothing but a junior.
Choose the right word.
She feels so lonely and depressed.
She works better when she is alone or by herself.
I didn't go alone to Paris. David was with me. I have only 3 books in my room.
When other students are not in, she feels so lonely. If I have the proper tool, I can do it by myself. To undergo, underwent, undergone. To forget, forgot, forgotten. To stand, stood, stood.
To make plans for the future.
Dear Elsie, I've just graduated and I'm making plans for my future.
Expressions. The reason for. To bother someone with something.
The reason for which you mustn't bother me with any more of your problems is that I have too many problems of my own. British English. Certainly. Certain.
American English, sure. Sure.
To upset. 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 To be upset.
What happened? Why are you so upset?
Oh, I wish I didn't have such a crazy mother. I've just had a quarrel.
Besides equals other than.
She doesn't want to talk about anything besides her party and her divorce.
To explain. Verb. Explanation. Noun.
I just wish you were firmer with her. I want you to tell her now, not later on. You'll have time to explain our decision to her this afternoon.
To be firm. Or to be decided.
Try to be firmer. Do it for me, sweetheart. I wish I could help you more.
To calm down.
Thanks. As usual, you've made me feel better. You're always able to calm me down.
Synonyms. Obligatory. Compulsory.
To oblige. To compel. When all comes before a pronoun, of is compulsory or obligatory. Elsie was compelled or obliged by her mother to do her homework first.
Do you think I've been sufficiently clear in my explanation this unit?
Yes, I think you've been extremely clear this unit. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Dear Elsie, I haven't finished telling you about my job and about the conversation with my best friend Anthony in the pub. I had made Anthony move from one table to another, and we were finally sitting in a quiet corner. I was eager to tell him how I had finally succeeded in finding the right job for me. It's really the job I wanted. We're mostly farmers here. I'm qualified as a vet, and I don't want to do anything else. Animals are my hobby as well, after my bike.
Well, Polymilk is really the biggest dairy farm we have here in our district. Oh yes, I've accepted the job, but listen to what happened.
I went up the steps and into the building. At the reception, there was a doorman who made me fill in a form. First name, Charles. Surname, Chippendale. Address, 235 Shakespeare Street, Brighton, Sussex. Telephone number, 0237 757649. Reason for visiting, job interview. Person visited, Dr. Finley. Well, they made me wait for a long time before seeing me. Finally, Mr. Finley's secretary arrived.
I was so nervous.
If I'd known, I would have come with you. Sometimes sense can be useful. And how did it go?
Are you Mr. Chippendale? How do you do, Mr. Chippendale? I'm Lynn Jansen, Mr. Finley's secretary.
How do you do, Miss Jansen?
Follow me, please. Today you must answer some questions for us and write a composition. And tomorrow at the same time there'll be an interview with Mr. Finley. Weren't you informed about this? Well, have a seat anyway.
Well, the composition they made me write was very difficult. The title was,
What intentions do you have for a dairy farm, and how long do you think it will take you to build and organize such a technically advanced farm?
If I'd known, I would have been prepared.
Well, it was a very difficult situation. And what about the interview the following day?
Oh, at the beginning things looked terrible to me. They didn't make me wait as long as the day before, but every minute seemed a lifetime to me. But when Mrs. Jansen appeared, her wonderful smile reassured me a lot.
My compliments, Mr. Chippendale. Your composition was really very interesting, with exciting new ideas. We think we'll have it published in the next issue of The Dairy. Mr. Finley's eager to see you and ask you some questions.
Yes, they got me to wait for their answer, but I was confident because Mr. Finley assured me at the end of the interview.
And finally, the answer arrived. Well, I've requested not to work in the office, but directly with the animals. And they've agreed with it. At the beginning, you'll have to make your experience directly in the big, ultra-modern stable, Mr. Finley said.
It's really what I wanted.
Oh, we have our fully qualified vet. There'll be no more Charles going around the country riding his bike.
What? How dare you say that? There will always be Charles riding around on his bike. Well, not so much around, riding to work on his bike.
Well, that's all for now. Cheerio, Charles.
Hi, welcome back.
Hello. The film about job interviews was very interesting, wasn't it? I think Charles is a really clever young man.
You must be proud that he is English. You know, we have learned so many things about a young person's expectations, about jobs and how to apply for them.
Do you remember the form Charles filled in?
I remember it perfectly. The reason for visiting Polymilk was a job interview. Shall we see again the form Charles filled in?
Filling in a form is quite an important thing. Everybody has got to fill in forms, either when he goes to an office or to a hotel.
That's right. When you fill in a form, you're usually asked to give your first name, your surname, which is the same as your last name or your family name, your present address, which includes usually the street number in front of the street name and also the city and the zip code, your nationality, what country you come from, your permanent address, where you stay permanently as opposed to maybe the present address, a hotel, and your telephone number.
Telephone numbers.
Telephone numbers are getting longer and more complicated today. When you call abroad, you must dial the international code, the country code, then the area code, and finally the number of the person.
That's right. And we don't want to teach you to phone. We just want to teach you as many new words as possible. What's your home phone number, Eileen?
The country code is 44. The area code is 0712. Oh, how silly. I'm giving you my home number. I can give you the number of the school where I teach.
That's of no use to me. No, thanks. Anyway, let's stop joking. And, by the way, I hope that our students remember that when we're giving phone numbers, we use O instead of naught and 0. But sometimes we say 0, but usually O.
O, British English. Naught.
American English. 0.
Yes, that's right. There are so many things to remember to explain. William, what's your telephone number?
Well, the country code is 1. The area code is 212. And my home phone number is 555-1212. Now, of course, don't believe any of this. This isn't my real number. We're just teaching.
And what else are we going to teach?
To cause somebody to do something. In English, to oblige somebody to do something or to cause something to be done, these verbs are used. To have, to make, to get.
Yes, this is not a simple idea to express. It's not that one makes a thing directly, but there is someone else who does or makes something for you. Now I have something done for me by William. William, could you get my pen, please?
Sure. Here you are, Eileen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, now I'll have something done for me by Eileen. Eileen, will you give me that book, please?
Certainly.
Thank you, Eileen.
Follow carefully the rules. They are expressed in a very simple way.
Active voice with to have or to make plus object plus infinitive without to. Or to have, to make, plus object plus verb in the ing form. To have is used with the meaning of to tell somebody to do something or to experience something. To make is used to express a strong command. Active voice with to get plus object plus infinitive with to. To get is used with the meaning of persuasion, to convince, to induce.
Anthony got Charles to go out for a ride and then to go to the pub.
Mom always has me cut the logs for the fireplace. Or Mom always makes me cut the logs for the fireplace. Passive voice. To have or to get plus object plus past participle.
How long will it take to have the sink repaired?
I must get this car repaired by someone immediately.
Revision.
Remember, the object of an active sentence becomes the subject of a passive sentence. Active, the Romans invaded England. Object. Passive, subject, England was invaded by the Romans. By is used to introduce the agent, the subject of the active sentence. England was invaded by the Romans. Agent. Rewrite these sentences using to have, to get, to make, where indicated in parentheses. I had got Anthony to move from one table to another, and we were finally sitting in a quiet corner. After I had entered, at the reception the doorman had, or made me, fill in a form. Well, they made me wait for a long time before seeing me. Yes, they got me to wait for their answer. But I was confident because Mr. Finley reassured me at the end of the interview. Well, the composition they had me write for them was very difficult. I got Anthony to accompany me to the job interview. I'll have this letter translated into French for me. Is she going to have her car washed? Answer the questions using to have, to make, to get.
Where did they make Charles wait a long time?
They made Charles wait a long time at Polymilk.
Who got Charles to accept the job?
Mom got Charles to accept the job.
Did they make him wait for a long time?
Yes, they made him wait for a long time.
Who had Charles fill in the form?
The doorman had Charles fill in the form.
We talked quite a bit about the present conditional, and now it's time to discuss the past conditional.
Past conditional.
Consider, first of all, that conditional tenses have a main clause and an if clause.
The past conditional is formed as follows. Would have, or could have, or should have, plus past participle of the verb in the main clause. The if clause of the past conditional is in the past perfect tense. If Anthony had come earlier, if clause, we would have gone to the pub, main clause.
If Aunt Charlotte had told us, if clause, we would have begun to eat only after his arrival, main clause. If we had had all the materials, if clause, we could have begun to decorate the house, main clause.
Change these present conditional sentences into the past conditional. If he found it, he would give it to me.
If he had found it, he would have given it to me. If I asked her, she wouldn't come with me.
If I had asked her, she wouldn't have come with me.
Things would be worse if Elsie didn't study her lesson every day.
Things would have been worse if Elsie hadn't studied her lesson every day. If you were sincere, I would trust you.
If you had been sincere, I would have trusted you.
If the rich had less money and the poor had more, the world could be better.
If the rich had had less money and the poor had had more, the world would have been better.
Sentences with the infinitive or gerund in the negative form.
Now, note the construction of infinitive or gerundive sentences in the negative form. The not goes before the infinitive or gerund.
Affirmative form, I have requested to work. Negative form, I have requested not to work. Put into the negative form.
They told me to leave early. They told me not to leave early. I hate staying home. I hate not staying home. She has asked me to go there. She has asked me not to go there. Revision.
Let's do an exercise concerning the infinitive and the ing form.
Fill in the blanks. I haven't finished telling you about my job. Before sitting down, let's find a quiet corner. After entering, I filled in a form at the reception.
I hate calling people on the phone. I prefer paying them a visit.
Well, they made me wait for a long time before seeing me. I was eager to tell him how I had finally succeeded in finding the right job for me. Noun, translation. Verb, to translate from one language into another.
To enter a place. Mum suddenly entered my room, and of course I wasn't studying. I was writing a letter to Charles. To be qualified as a doctor, teacher, veterinarian, etc. Charles is qualified as a veterinarian. To succeed in. They finally succeeded in moving the desk.
Let's talk about these verb forms. To call someone on the phone or to telephone someone. Look at these examples. She always calls him on the phone, and he is very upset about this. Or, she always telephones him.
To listen to hear carefully.
Listen to what happened to me yesterday. To inform about something.
Did Charles inform you about his new job?
To agree with someone about something. To agree with something. Mom never agrees with me about tea flavors.
Charles agreed with Anthony about his work situation in the ultra-modern stables, and they have agreed with it.
To offer a position.
We are glad to offer you a position as a veterinarian.
Opposites. At the end. At the beginning. At the beginning, you'll have to make your experience directly. Special expressions. The following day equals the next day. Job interview. The job interview lasted 2 hours. Application for a position. I made my application for a position as a vet at Polymilk. Correspondence. Letter. Answer or reply.
I have a very intense correspondence. I have written many letters and I have received many replies.
Abroad. Alice will go abroad on her honeymoon. She will visit France, Spain, and other countries.
Steps. Stairs. These stairs have broad steps.
When you write a formal letter, you should begin in this fashion. Dear Sir, or Madam, or Ms. And then the letter, something to the effect, we are very pleased to inform you.
Brighton, 10th of May. Reference, position offered. Dear Mr. Chippendale, we are very pleased to inform you that your composition was excellent. We look forward to hearing from you as soon as possible. Yours faithfully, J.H. Finley.
You know, I am always afraid of missing something. We are now at Unit 31, and I think our students should know and understand really a lot.
I'm sure they do. And they can also understand our guest.
Yes, you are right. I almost forgot about our guest. Come in.
Hello.
Hey, hello, Charles.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm a bit late.
Where have you been?
Well, I had some success at the races this morning. My horse won its race, and I won £500.
£500? Congratulations, Charles.
Thanks. So, anyway, I went to the pub with Anthony to celebrate, and I'm afraid I was having such a good time I forgot our appointment.
You often go to the pub with Anthony, don't you?
Oh, yes, the pub is our meeting place. Whenever we want to meet for a chat, we go to the pub. The nearest pub to my house is called the Cricketers, and that's where we usually go. The Cricketers has a bar where you can play darts and listen to the music on the jukebox. There's also a lounge where families can sit and have lunch.
Ah, you can eat in pubs too.
Oh, in most pubs, yes, but usually only during lunch hour.
Is drinking very popular in England?
The most important thing about a pub is not drinking. It's the company you find there. Friends. A pub is really a home away from home.
Without beds.
Yes. But many years ago, pubs did have beds. They were used by travellers who wanted to rest after a long day on horseback.
Tell me, Charles, in what other ways do the English relax and spend their free time apart from going to the pubs?
Well, among younger people, wine bars are becoming very popular. Discotheques are always popular. Everybody likes dancing.
I love dancing.
Actually, I never go to discos. I don't like loud music. I don't like dancing either.
Well, Charles, what do you like? Do you like sports?
I'll leave you two to talk about sport.
No, really, tell me, do you play sports in England?
Oh, yes. Well, football, or soccer as you Americans call it. Then there's rugby, and in the summer there's cricket. I love cricket. Such a relaxing sport.
It's like our baseball, isn't it?
Well, I suppose it's similar. But I think baseball is a much faster game.
I think so. I think you're right. Well, what about any other sports you practice?
Well, golf is very popular, and also tennis and hockey. And I sometimes play squash. But of course, the best sport of all is horse riding.
I know you love that, of course. In what other ways do English people relax?
Well, many enjoy going to the cinema, reading, and listening to music.
What about going to a restaurant?
Usually only older people eat out, because it's quite expensive in Britain.
Well, thank you, Charles. I think we've finished for now, but I hope you'll come back. Where are you going now, by the way?
I'm going back to the pub, of course.
Well, Aileen, come Charles is going to the pub. We'll have to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Charles.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Charles. And let's say goodbye to our students as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. Aunt Charlotte is already fat. Maybe she will get fatter and fatter. And she's always excited. And when she isn't, she soon gets excited.
To get ill.
Hopefully Aunt Charlotte will not get ill.
Don't you think you're joking too much? Let's get on with our list.
To get bored. To get lost. To get old. To get married. To get ready. To get rich. To get thin. To get tired. To get upset. To get used to. To get well. To get better. To get worse.
Do you remember what worse means? Do you remember it's the comparative form of bad, bad, worse, the worst?
To get, used as a prepositional or phrasal verb. To get plus preposition, or to get plus particle. Get is also one of many prepositional or phrasal verbs. That is to say, it is used combined with a preposition or particle to give the verb a different meaning.
Here are just a few of the phrasal verbs with get.
To get up, to get off, to get out, to get away, to get to, etc.
You have seen some of these verbs several times. For example, they always get up at 7 o'clock. These are some of the most important, but there are many others.
Get off the table. Let's get off the bus at the next stop. The police chased the criminals, but they had got away. Get out of my house and don't ever come back. When I got to London, it was 5 p.m.
When get is used with a past participle, the meaning is very similar to a passive verb form, and get is like an auxiliary.
For example, to get hit, to get damaged, to get broken, to get killed, to get hurt.
Bilboa doccia bronzo. Solari Bilboa abbronzano di più in fretta e senza rischi.
Ariston, la casa vale di più.
Ehi, mi passi Rio Casa Mia più?
Tu mi regali un po' d'allegria.
L'igiene cambia, diventa più facile, più brillante e con più profumo di agrumi. Rio Casa Mia più con alcol.
Dear Alice, excuse me for not having written to you for several days, but I've been very busy with a swimming competition and with a group for the prevention of drug abuse. My brother is not the only one who has joined our group since last February, but as you remember, our English teacher has too. And now our group meets at her house. She joined the group last month, and she invited a doctor to talk to us about drug abuse and AIDS. So 2 days ago, we listened to a very interesting and educational lecture. The doctor had been speaking for more than an hour when I interrupted him because something wasn't clear to me. How long is the incubation period of the HIV virus?
The incubation period of the HIV virus is quite long. It may last from 6 months to 12 years.
What is the difference between an HIV positive and a diagnosed AIDS patient?
A person who is HIV positive is someone who has the virus in his blood and may transmit it to another person through the usual transmission channels. But he has no symptoms, while an ill person has symptoms of disease. During the incubation period, the infected person feels healthy and may be unaware of the danger to himself and others. No cure has been found yet. The illness may be slowed down, but not stopped.
We all know that this virus is transmitted through sexual contact, through blood and sperm, but of course we wanted some more information. We had been listening to the doctor attentively for more than an hour when suddenly he concluded his lecture.
I've been talking for quite a long time, and I'm very pleased you're all so attentive. Please keep your questions for our next meeting. I must go now. I can't be late for my appointment at the hospital. See you next Friday at the same time.
How long have you been involved in your work with AIDS?
Since 1988, when our hospital set up a department for AIDS prevention and care. I'm sorry, I must go. Thank you for everything. Goodbye, my dear students.
I've known you for a year now, and I've seen you mature a lot. You've really worked hard this year, haven't you? When did you join this group?
We decided to form a group against drug abuse after someone found out that Peter Sower, a guy in the 8th grade, was taking as well as selling drugs. He even sold something to my younger brother. I'm so glad you joined this group. There are also a few very active parents working with us.
Oh, I'm happy to be involved in it. I've been interested in this problem for a long time, ever since my elder brother got into trouble. In 1980, he went to India on business. There he had his first experience with drugs. He had been smoking grass and taking heroin for about 2 years when suddenly he began having psychological problems. Since then, he hasn't recovered. How long has this group been in existence?
Since last year. At the beginning, there were only 4 of us. But now there are a lot more.
Okay, Elsie. See you later.
Well, Alice, I knew she was a very clever teacher and that she had some problems. But now I know what they're all about. We're working hard in our fight against drug abuse. My brother has been helping us a lot since March, too. Your friend, Elsie.
Welcome back.
Hello. We've learned how to form the present perfect simple and also the present perfect progressive, or continuous, as well as the past perfect simple and the past perfect progressive.
But now we have to learn when and how to use them. So sit tight and be very attentive.
Uses of several verb forms.
I think it's better to review what we've already done, don't you, Wei-Wei?
Yes, I do. But first of all, let's look at the prepositions we use to talk about how long something has or had been happening.
For and since.
Since is used to say exactly when something started. A date, a certain month, a period.
Since is used to say exactly when something started. A date, a certain month, a certain day, or a certain period, and indicates that it continues up to the moment of speaking. Since is only used in perfect tenses.
When the plane landed, I was angry. because I had been waiting since 7 o'clock. I have been studying English since the beginning of junior high school. He has been working at Polymilk since the 10th of July. This whiskey has been manufactured since 1932.
Let's look now at for. For is used to talk about how long something has been going on.
For is used to say how long something has been going on. For 2 minutes, 3 days, 6 months. In other words, a period of time. For may be used in simple tenses or perfect tenses.
I have been studying English for 5 years.
Elsie has been working in the drug abuse prevention group for several years. She had been waiting for her child for 2 hours when finally she arrived.
There are other important points to remember. First of all, the use of time adverbs.
Time adverbs. Ago is used to say how long something happened before the present. We use it only with a past tense and never with perfect tenses.
We went to Aunt Charlotte's 2 days ago.
I saw her 3 days ago. From, to. When we give the starting and ending point of an action in the past, future, or present simple, we use from, to, or from, until. She lived in Pomade from 1970 to 1985. We go to school from 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. Until. If we talk only about the moment a continuous action finishes, we use until or till, informal.
School lasts until 4:30. I can't do anything till he gets here.
By. By can mean not later than.
Please be here by 5 o'clock. I will be in London by Tuesday.
Fill in the blanks with since, for, ago, by, till, until, from, to.
If you want to see Charles, you should come by 3 o'clock. Charles's grandfather worked at this bank until 16 years ago. They lived in Pomade from 1980 to until 1986. Now they live in Madrid. I've been studying since this morning. They have been in this house since 1958. We have studied English for many years. I lived at home until I went to college. We stayed at the restaurant from 7 o'clock to until 9 o'clock.
Uses of the present perfect simple and of the present perfect progressive.
The present perfect progressive, or present perfect continuous, is used for more temporary actions, while the present perfect simple is more common for more permanent situations.
I have been living in Pomade for 2 months now. Present perfect progressive.
I have lived in Pomade since I was born.
Present perfect progressive.
You've been eating too much lately. You should go on a diet. The present perfect progressive focuses on the continuation of the activity. It is not important whether the action has finished or not. For example, he may still be eating now.
Present perfect simple. He's eaten all my biscuits. The box is empty. The present perfect simple is often used to emphasize the results of the action or the fact that the action has been completed.
You've been eating too much lately, Aunt Charlotte. You should go on a diet.
He's eaten all my biscuits. The box is empty.
As you have probably noticed, the second sentence focuses on the fact that he has eaten all the biscuits. The action has been already completed.
We use the progressive form to talk about how long something has been happening. We use the simple form to say how much or how many times we have done something.
I've been watching television all day. I've watched television every night this week.
Hopefully you have understood the explanation about the use of the present perfect simple and the present perfect progressive.
Uses of the past perfect simple and of the past perfect progressive. The past perfect simple is used when there is the idea of an earlier past to talk about something which has already happened at the time to which we are referring.
She was sad because she hadn't received any letters from her pen friends.
The past perfect progressive is used to talk about long actions which have been going on up to the moment in the past we are talking about. When David arrived, Alice had been watching television for several hours. Verbs not used in the progressive tenses.
Note, the same verbs that can't be used in the present progressive can't be used in the present perfect progressive or past perfect progressive either. Let's review them. You will see there are a few more than those indicated in the previous lists.
To see, to hear, to understand.
To suppose, to like, to love, to hate, etc. And also to dislike, to impress, to surprise, to smell, give out a smell, to appear, to fit, to resemble, to find, to lose, etc.
These are not all the verbs which aren't commonly used in the progressive tenses, but they're enough for you to learn for the moment. They are the most important anyway. Do you know why they don't take the progressive?
Why?
Well, I think I have an idea why. These are verbs of the mind, the emotions, the five senses, and of possession. They give the idea of permanency. They don't happen for just a short while. Look at these examples. Alice loves David. Right. Alice is loving David. Wrong.
Yes, you are quite right. This gives an idea about these stative verbs.
Stative verbs cannot be used in the progressive tenses.
While those that can be used in the progressive or continuous tenses are dynamic verbs.
Dynamic verbs can be used in the progressive tenses.
Look at this example. I've been riding my bike for 1 hour.
What could be more dynamic than that?
Fill in the blanks and put the sentences into the proper past tenses.
My brother is not the only one who has joined us since last February, as you remember. The doctor had been speaking for more than an hour when I interrupted him because something was not clear to me. We had been listening to the doctor attentively for more than an hour when suddenly he concluded his lecture.
I have been talking for quite a long time, and I am very pleased you're all so attentive.
How long have you been involved in your work with AIDS?
Since 1988, when our hospital set up a department for AIDS prevention and care.
I have known you for a year now, and I have seen you mature a lot. Oh, we decided to form a group against drug abuse after someone found out that Peter Sawyer was selling them. I have been interested in this problem for a long time. He had been smoking grass and taking heroin for about 2 years, when suddenly he began having psychological troubles. Since then, he hasn't recovered. How long has this group been in existence?
Impersonal forms changed to personal forms.
Note, impersonal forms with it can be changed into present personal forms using the present perfect.
Impersonal form. It's 3 years since I last saw her. Personal form. I haven't seen her for 3 years. It's 3 days since Elsie studied English. Impersonal form. Elsie hasn't studied English for 3 days.
It is 1 week since I received Alice's last letter. I haven't received any letters from Alice for 1 week. Disease, illness, synonymous.
Expressions with to feel. To feel sick, ill, not to feel well. To feel well, to feel better, etc. British English, ill. American English, sick.
In American English, sick means in bad health. Look at this example. Mom is sick.
In British English, sick is used as an adjective before a noun. For example, she has a sick dog. Ill is used after a subject and a verb. For example, I've been ill, so I couldn't do my homework.
To be sick of equals to be fed up with. I am sick of your nonsense. Or, I am fed up with your nonsense. To last, lasted, lasted. The party lasted until 3 o'clock in the morning. Incubation period.
How long is the incubation period of the HIV virus?
To transmit a disease.
When someone has a contagious disease, he can transmit it to someone else or infect someone else.
To set, set, set. To set up, set up, set up.
Since 1988, when our hospital set up a department for AIDS prevention and care.
Drug. To take drugs. Drug abuse. Use of drugs without medical control or prescription. Drug prevention. Drug prevention group.
We decided to form a group against drug abuse after someone found out that Peter Sower, a guy in the 8th grade, was taking as well as selling drugs. He even sold something to my younger brother.
To join something. Someone.
She joined the group last month, and she invited a doctor to talk to us about drug abuse and AIDS. So 2 days ago, we listened to a very interesting and educational lecture.
I joined Michael at the pub after I'd been to see Judith. Some more time adverbs. Up to now. Ever since. I haven't found a job up to now. Ever since I met her, I haven't been able to sleep.
I think we had better stop this grammar time. The progressive forms are quite difficult to understand and learn, so these concepts must be digested quite slowly.
You're right. Is anybody going to come and give us something more lively and less difficult?
Well, there's Miss Stevens, of course.
Oh, good. And is she going to tell us something amusing?
I doubt it. She's always too involved in her role as a teacher.
Well, maybe it's better for us to have some help.
Maybe.
Come in.
Miss Stevens, welcome back.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? Hello, everybody. So kind of you to have invited me here today to talk about...
About the subject we English teachers always talk about.
Which is, of course, the difficulties our students experience when they're learning English, and their most common mistakes. Many languages do not have progressive tenses, so mistakes in English are quite common when these tenses are required.
Well, speaking of required, I'm not required, so I'm going to sit down and watch.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thanks. Here's an example of a quite common mistake. Now I go to school. This is wrong. You should say, now I'm going to school. But I usually go to school in the morning. Look here at another typical mistake. I am waiting for Aunt Charlotte for 2 hours. Wrong. I have been waiting for Aunt Charlotte for 2 hours. Correct. And then, I have been waiting for my friends for 5 o'clock. Wrong. I have been waiting for my friends since 5 o'clock. Correct. You've explained the rules about these grammatical points very well. I hope your students won't make any mistakes when they use these forms.
Well, I really hope not. We're so careful to explain everything and to point out a lot of potential difficulties.
That's true. I really think I could learn something from you.
From us?
Well, not English itself, of course, but some good ways to explain it. I think your explanations are always quite clear. But before we go on, I wanted to talk to you about some other mistakes I often notice my students making. I see sentences like this. She had that job since 1985. Wrong. I never studied Chinese. Wrong. To talk about actions and situations which started in the past and have continued up to the present, we have to use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous, because there is a connection between past and present. The correct sentences are therefore, she has had that job since 1985. Correct. I have never studied Chinese. Correct.
Well, it's just a question of studying, practicing, and looking very carefully at the examples. Don't you think so, Miss Stevens?
Of course. In order to learn a language well, we must practice using it as much as possible.
That's right. What a lovely suggestion. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, you're fanatical taking this book everywhere. You're even studying in the car. You must be crazy. Why don't you play cards with me instead?
Next Sunday, school will have been over for 3 days. That means I will have my final exams in a few days. Don't you think I should study instead of playing cards with you? Why don't you study too? Haven't you got any tests in the next few days?
Yes, I have, but I'm perfectly prepared. I know everything.
Oh, I see you know everything, do you? Aren't you a lazy student? You study the minimum needed. I want you to get good marks. Otherwise?
Otherwise, there will be no holiday for me. I know that already.
Don't behave like this. You should behave like a man, not like a baby. Gary is wiser than you sometimes.
Stop it, please. Didn't you hear what Dad said?
I'll go and see what the situation is. Get the things quickly and don't argue, please. Please get the things and follow me. Be good kids.
I'd like to know why I shouldn't study today. Are you jealous of my good marks? Do you want me to be an ass like you? Don't kick me, or else I'll tell Dad. Don't you dare. He is fishing, and he doesn't want to be disturbed.
Of course, Dad. Oh, he never catches any fish. Yes, go and tell him, you, Daddy's pet. I hate you even more when you're like this.
Oh, you know I won't tell him, but please keep your feet where they belong.
Oh, you're still here? I knew it. Be careful, don't get the car dirty. I haven't got time to wash it tomorrow.
Okay, Dad. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't making it dirty.
Well, be quick. Collect everything and join me at the beach.
The sun is shining, the wind is not blowing, and I must get wet, otherwise I'll bake in this heat.
I'll tell Mom that you wasted our drinking water.
Mom isn't here, and anyway, there's plenty of water, isn't there? It wasn't that easy telling Dad what had happened to the bottle of water. We made it disappear, of course. Your friend, Elsie.
Hello, welcome back.
Hi. You know, I feel quite relieved now. I think we have done the most important things, and now there are only a few things left to be explained.
Are you sure, William? I wouldn't be too relieved.
Some more about the uses of the verb to get, got, got.
Get is a very important verb in English because it has so many uses. You're right. But don't worry. After all the work you have done so far, I don't think you'll find it too difficult.
Please don't get upset about all the different meanings of get. It really is a very useful verb.
First of all, to get plus direct object can mean to receive, to obtain, to fetch, depending on the context. Did you get a call from your mom? Elsie, could you get me a newspaper from the kiosk, UK, or newspaper stand, US?
Did you get the new English grammar? He came and got me at the station.
Get can also mean to understand. Did you get what William just said?
Sure they got it. There are many expressions where the verb to get refers to a change of state and means to become. We have learnt many of these expressions with the verb to be.
While to be indicates a state, to get indicates a change of state, meaning to become. Note the following construction. To get plus adjective.
Do you remember in one of the first units when Aunt Charlotte was angry, or warm, or cold?
I'm hot, terribly hot. Brr, close the window. I'm so cold. Get my coat, Elsie.
In this unit, she would probably be getting warm, or she would be getting cold.
I am getting hot. I am getting cold.
To get drunk.
Oh, Aunt Charlotte wouldn't get drunk.
To get engaged.
I don't think Aunt Charlotte would even get engaged. She still thinks of her husband.
To get fat. To get excited.
Aunt Charlotte is already fat. Maybe she will get fatter and fatter. And she's always excited. And when she isn't, she soon gets excited.
To get ill.
Hopefully Aunt Charlotte will not get ill.
Don't you think you're joking too much? Let's get on with our list.
To get bored. To get lost. To get old. To get married. To get ready. To get rich. To get thin. To get tired. To get upset. To get used to. To get well. To get better. To get worse.
Do you remember what worse means? Do you remember it's the comparative form of bad, bad, worse, the worst?
To get, used as a prepositional or phrasal verb. To get plus preposition, or to get plus particle. Get is also one of many prepositional or phrasal verbs. That is to say, it is used combined with a preposition or particle to give the verb a different meaning.
Here are just a few of the phrasal verbs with get.
To get up, to get off, to get out, to get away, to get to, etc.
You have seen some of these verbs several times. For example, they always get up at 7 o'clock. These are some of the most important, but there are many others.
Get off the table. Let's get off the bus at the next stop. The police chased the criminals, but they had got away. Get out of my house and don't ever come back. When I got to London, it was 5 p.m.
When get is used with a past participle, the meaning is very similar to a passive verb form, and get is like an auxiliary.
For example, to get hit, to get damaged, to get broken, to get killed, to get hurt. He got hit by the ball while he was playing baseball. Revision.
To get plus direct object of person plus infinitive.
Now let's review a form we have already discussed. Get plus direct object plus infinitive verb can have the special meaning of to persuade.
Mr. Rolls can't get Elsie and John to be quiet. Elsie can't get John to study English. Note the following constructions. To get plus direct object plus adjective, and to get plus direct object plus past participle. When get is used with a direct object plus adjective or past participle, it means to cause, to become, to cause to change, etc.
You must get your sums right. I want to get my hair cut.
I can't get the work finished by tomorrow.
Get can also be used as a verb of movement, meaning to go, to arrive, to reach.
I never get to bed before 11 o'clock. Charles's father gets to the station at 6 o'clock every morning. I'll get there in 1 hour.
Remember that got is used with the verb to have in spoken English in the following cases: possession, relationship, obligation. For example, I have got an English book. She hasn't got any sisters. Why have you got to go now?
Complete the following sentences, choosing the proper word. Today it's a wonderful day all along our coastline. Have a fine day and be careful you don't get burnt. Oh, you're getting so fanatical, taking this book everywhere with you. If you keep on drinking, you'll get drunk. Try to study more, you're getting lazy. It's raining and I'm going to get wet. He always gets jealous of his sister. He'll never get used to this climate. Elsie and John got tired at the beach. Fill in the blanks. I'll go and see what the situation is like. Get the things quickly and don't argue, please. Be careful. Don't get the car dirty. I don't want to wash it tomorrow because I haven't got time. He got injured in a car accident. She is getting old, and she is full of aches and pains. Some more about future forms.
The future perfect, the future progressive, and the future in the past.
Future perfect. Will plus have plus past participle. The future perfect is used to indicate that something will have been done by a certain time in the future.
Next June, he'll have been in Pomid for 5 years. I'll have gone by the time you arrive. Paul will have finished university by the end of this semester.
Future progressive. Will plus be plus verb in the ing form. The future progressive is used to say that an action will be in progress at a particular moment in the future.
Next week, I'll be taking a lot of tests. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., he'll still be working.
Future in the past. When talking about the past, sometimes we want to indicate an action that had not happened yet, but was going to happen in the future.
To indicate this situation, the English language uses the past progressive, or should, would, plus infinitive without to. In his first example, when he saw her, she told him she was going to the United States of America the following month. Here, going to indicates the past progressive. In his second example, I knew him when he was an unknown columnist. 3 years later, he would become a famous writer. Here, we use the would form.
They looked at the house where they would live one day.
Revision.
Should, would.
Would plus the infinitive without to forms the conditional. Should plus infinitive without to forms the conditional of must. But they are also modal auxiliaries with the following meanings.
As a modal auxiliary, should is used to express duty or obligation, offers, suggestions, etc. In subordinate clauses, after if, or in case, it means to happen to.
I should go home now. It's late. You should stop screaming like that. Let me know in case you should go there.
Would is also used as the past form of will in reported speech to express the idea of future in the past and to make polite requests. She said she would help.
They looked at the house where they would live one day. He would always get angry when I came late. Would you please carry this for me?
Fill in the blanks. If John has studied, his father will be nicer to him. Next week, John will have passed the exams. When Elsie and John were little children, their father hoped they would become good students. When you come to my place this afternoon, I'll already have come back from fishing. Don't you think you should be studying instead of playing?
I'd like to know why I shouldn't study today. Are you jealous of my good marks?
Elsie and John asked if they should carry everything to the beach. Fish. To fish. To go fishing. To catch fish.
On Saturday, Mom sometimes stays at home with the baby. And we go fishing with Daddy.
Let's listen to the weather forecast.
Weather. Weather forecast.
Coast, coastline, seaside, beach, sea, ocean. British English, kiosk.
American English, newspaper stand. To burn, burnt, burnt. To get burnt.
Today's a wonderful day all along our coastline. Have a fine day if you're going to the seaside, and be careful you don't get burnt.
Test equals exam. School test. Mark equals note, a good or a bad mark. To behave.
I know that already.
Don't behave like this. You should behave like a man, not like a baby.
To happen.
It wasn't that easy telling Dad what had happened to the bottle of water. We made it disappear, of course.
Are there any more words and expressions to point out to our students?
Well, what about some of the words we'll need for our next conversation?
Night, star, moon, satellite, planet, solar system, earth, sun.
It's Elsie.
Ah, come in.
Hello, hi.
Hello, Elsie.
Hi. Welcome back. You're not worried today, are you?
Oh, I'm so glad to be here today. I'd like to give a general talk about school systems.
That's a very clever idea. Who chose it? I bet it was you, William, was it?
Yes, because it's time we learned something about school and the subjects one studies at school.
Well, first of all, a child goes to nursery school. When he is 5, he can begin kindergarten. Children can play, paint, and sing together there. Then there is elementary school, where he learns the basics of his own language, mathematics, history, and geography. Then between 11 and 13 or 14, there is what we call middle school. Up to this grade, school is the same for all students.
Yes, that's true almost everywhere. Of course, in England, things are slightly different. In England, elementary or primary school continues up until 11 years of age. Then the pupils go to the secondary school. In secondary school, the pupils start to study individual subjects for the exams they will take when they are 16. Oh, and there's something else. Secondary school, from 11 to 16, can be divided into high school, 11 to 14, and upper school, 14 to 16.
Oh, that's interesting. Here in Pomid, from 14 to 18, there is what we call high school. High school has different types of courses: classical or scientific courses, commercial courses, technical courses, courses to become an elementary school teacher. But to go into too many details could be boring. I have just finished high school, and I have learnt many things. I'm so happy to have studied so many interesting subjects: history, mathematics, chemistry, physics, astronomy, geology, trigonometry, English, of course, and British and American literature.
Which subjects do you like best, Elsie?
I'm very fond of literature. I know something about British and American literature. Do you want me to recite a poem for you?
Really? I'd be delighted. Let's see. How about something from Emily Dickinson or Yeats?
I'm very fond of their poems. In my opinion, they are both very moving and delicate. But I'm going to recite something I have written myself. I write many poems. I write poems in English about many subjects. They help me to memorize the English words. The title is Mysterious Night Sky. Every night I look at the sky out of my little window. Night, mysterious night. I look at the moon, the yellow moon. I look at the stars, little shining dots in the endless sky. During summer nights, I can see Venus, magic Venus, one of the planets of the solar system. But when I look at the night sky, I also see strange objects. Yes, they are airplanes or weather satellites. What's happening to the mysterious night sky?
Well, I'm afraid I can't judge this poem immediately. But you do recite very well. You could be an actress.
Really? Well, I'm rather confused now. as I told you about my future.
You know, you should think about it very carefully and see what you really want to do and be.
Oh, well, I'll try.
Perhaps we could talk about it some more next time. Okay.
Good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dear Elsie, David and I are going to get married the day after tomorrow, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about our honeymoon. 2 days ago, we went to a travel agency to plan our itinerary.
You should push, not pull. Otherwise, you'll never open the door. I haven't been skiing for ages. Skiing in the summer is fantastic, with the snow on the ground and the sun in the sky.
Sit down, please. Well, can I help you? Are you interested in anything in particular?
We want to go skiing. Oh, here's the right brochure.
Are you used to traveling?
I used to travel a lot, but for the last 2 years I haven't very much because of school and because of Mom. I couldn't even go to college for nearly 1 year because of the situation with her second husband.
Have you ever been to our agency before? We have special offers for our customers.
I've been here at least 10 times, if not more, but I've never seen you before.
That's because I'm new here. That's why I asked you this question.
How long ago was it that I went to Europe with Dad? Oh, it's 5 years ago. Well, I came here for the first time 5 years ago. I was with my father then. Used to travel a lot together before he got married for the second time.
Are you two traveling together? There are special accommodations for couples.
Yes, we're together. Do you have any other place to suggest, rather than Mount Hood in Oregon? A friend of mine went there last summer, and he said it was a gorgeous. But, are there other summer ski resorts?
Oh, close the door, please. Excuse me, what were you saying? Yes, Oregon.
No, not Oregon. Any other suggestion?
Well, if it were winter, I would suggest Colorado.
But now it's summer.
Let me see. There are a lot of ski resorts here. Oh, no. There's only skiing in the winter here. But Mount Hood is really beautiful. You can ski and hike, too. What do you think?
Oh, I love hiking, too. It makes you feel so alive. Long walks, hard climbing.
Have you got all the necessary sportswear for hiking and skiing? I'll give you the list of the things you'll need. Ski wear. Down jacket. Skis and poles. Ski pants. Long underwear. Sweaters, heavy and light. Shirts. Wool socks. Wool cap. Ski gloves. Ski boots. Moon boots. Hiking wear. Comfortable pants. Polo shirts. T-shirts. Sweaters, heavy and light. Wool socks. Cap. Wool gloves. Hiking boots. Backpack. If you need anything, I'd suggest M&P Sports. I'll give you a voucher and you'll get a special discount. I'm out of them. I'll go get some more.
"15 minutes passed, and we were wondering if she could ever come back at all. Then finally she returned.
I have found something special for you. Something very cheap.
But we don't want a cheap place. We didn't ask you for cheap hotels. We want a beautiful room in a wonderful place where we can ski and hike. Do you know any other place apart from Mount Hood? That was my question.
But Mount Hood in Oregon is the best place. Absolutely the best. I'll phone immediately and book your reservation. Hello, I'm calling from the Los Angeles agency. Are there any suites now available for a young couple?
Sometimes people really make you waste time. Don't you agree, Elsie? Lots of love, Alice.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
We have learned so many interesting things here.
Yes, and I think it would be a good idea to point out several differences between British and American vocabulary.
Okay, but before we do that, let's talk a bit about grammar. Let's start with used to plus infinitive.
Used to plus infinitive.
Yes, it's important to be familiar with this form.
Used to plus infinitive only exists in the past tense. It refers to past habits, usual actions that are not going on in the present time. To talk about usual actions in the present, we use the present simple of the verb preceded, if necessary, by always, often, usually, generally, etc. David usually plays tennis with Alice, but before he got married, he used to play tennis with his friends.
In the interrogative and negative, used to can have the form either of an auxiliary or an ordinary verb with do. With do, it is less formal.
Did David used to play tennis when he wasn't married? They didn't used to go out at night when they were engaged.
Used to is not correct to say how often something happened or how long it lasted.
When they were engaged, David went to Berkeley to see Alice 18 times.
For repeated actions, would is also used to refer to past habits. But would can only be used for repeated action, not states or situations.
When he was a child, Paul would walk with his mother and father for hours. Or, he used to walk with his mother and father for hours.
Pay attention to the form to be used to or to get used to, which means to be or get accustomed to, and it is followed by a noun or an ing form.
Alice is used to studying. This means studying is not difficult or unusual for Alice. We are used to the morning noise of the street cleaner, meaning this is no longer a problem or unusual for us. Fill in the blanks.
Are you used to traveling?
They used to watch television every night.
We used to travel a lot together before he got married for the second time.
They used to be bad students, but since then they have improved a lot. Special construction of the possessive pronoun.
Pay attention to the following special construction of the possessive pronoun.
Possessive adjective. One of my friends. Possessive pronoun. A friend of mine. Some of her friends. Some friends of hers. One of our friends. One friend of ours. A few of their friends. A few friends of theirs.
I'm always angry with that stupid brother of mine. Or, I'm always angry with my stupid brother.
Sar was there with some friends of his. Or, Sar was there with some of his friends. Complete the following sentences using the key words and the expressions just learned. Who won the prize?
It was a student of mine, or one of my students.
I saw him with a book of mine, or I saw him with one of my books.
Don't take it unless it's a book of yours, or one of your books.
Frequency adverbs.
Do you remember you learned the position of the frequency adverbs in Unit 5? You had not yet learned the compound tenses, so that rule was incomplete. Let's complete it now, okay?
Wonderful.
Position of frequency adverbs. Always, usually, often, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, never.
Now note the rules of the position of these adverbs in a sentence.
Position of frequency adverbs. Simple tenses. Subject plus frequency adverb plus present tense.
I often go to the swimming pool.
Compound tenses. Subject plus auxiliary plus frequency adverb plus past participle.
He has often gone to the swimming pool.
The position of frequency adverbs in the interrogative and negative forms is the same both in simple and compound tenses. Interrogative form. Auxiliary plus subject plus frequency adverb plus past participle, or plus infinitive without to. Did David often pay Alice a visit when they were engaged? Has he often been to the swimming pool? Negative form. Auxiliary plus not plus subject plus frequency adverb plus past participle, or plus infinitive without to. They haven't often gone to ski this winter. When he was in Pomid, he didn't often go to see his grandchildren.
I wouldn't give exercises only about the position of the frequency adverbs. It seems to me it's too easy. Don't you think so?
Well, I think you're right.
I would suggest an exercise also including the verbal tenses. Do you understand when to use the present perfect and the present perfect continuous?
Put the correct verb forms and the frequency adverbs in the right position. I have never been skiing in the summer.
Have you ever been to our agency before? I have been here at least 10 times, if not more, but I have never seen you before. That's because I'm new here. That's why I was asking you these questions.
Well, I came here for the first time 5 years ago.
Yes, we're together. Do you have any other place to suggest rather than Mount Hood in Oregon?
"15 minutes passed, and we were wondering if she would ever come back at all.
We didn't ask you for cheap hotels. We never asked you for cheap hotels. Revision. Each, every, all. Each, plus noun in the singular, refers to single individuals, animals, or things. Every, plus noun in the singular, refers to a total of singular individuals. All, plus noun in the plural, refers to a group of individuals, animals, or things. Each separates each member of a group. It can also be used as a pronoun, but each one is more common.
Each student has his own books.
Every is used to generalize.
They have taken every book.
All is very similar in meaning to every, but it is used with definite plural nouns and verbs. When used with a singular noun, it means every part of.
They were at school all day.
All can also be placed after a direct or indirect object pronoun.
I say goodbye to you all.
Fill in the blanks using each, every, all. Each student in the class has his own books. Every student comes to Ms. Stevens' house every day to take private lessons from her. The students all come to Miss Stevens' house. They spend every afternoon there. She gave a piece of chalk to each student. They stay at Miss Stevens' house all afternoon.
We all went very quiet. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to see you are all here.
To wonder if. Note this expression, to wonder if.
Attention! This verb is quite complicated. To wonder if means to ask oneself.
You know, I was wondering if you would stay here just a little bit longer.
I wonder where Elsie is.
15 minutes passed, and we were wondering if she could ever come back at all.
Elsie wondered if Aunt Charlotte could accompany her to the medical center. Verbs with opposite meanings. To push, to pull. You push in, but you pull out.
You should push, not pull. Otherwise you'll never open the door.
Voucher. What's a voucher? A voucher gives a discount on a particular article. To be out of equals to be without. To run out equals not to have more.
I'll give you a voucher and you'll get a special discount. I'm out of them. I'll go get some more.
To book. To book a reservation.
I'll phone immediately and book your reservation.
Room, suite, honeymoon suite, bathroom.
Sheet, blanket, pillow, cushion, bed.
Talking of reserving a room in a hotel reminds me of a holiday I once had.
Ah, holidays. How nice.
Well, this holiday was awful. They forgot to make my reservation in the hotel register. And so, when I arrived at the hotel, I didn't have a room. They put me in a little room in the back of the hotel.
Well, wasn't that nice and quiet?
No. There was no shower or bathroom, no sheets on the bed, there was no room service, so I couldn't have breakfast in bed.
Oh, dear. I suppose you complained.
Of course. In fact, I complained so much that they gave me the honeymoon suite instead of that horrid little room. And that was wonderful.
Oh, that wasn't too bad.
British English. Trousers, pants, panties, bra, slip.
American English. Pants, underpants, panties, bra, slip.
Tights, socks, rucksack, blouse, skirt.
Pantyhose, socks, backpack, blouse, skirt.
Suit, dress, jacket, coat.
Suit, dress, jacket, coat.
Is that all?
Yes, for the moment, I guess, but, who is it?
Guess who it could be? It's Alice, of course. We've just seen her on the screen.
Ah, welcome.
Hi, and hello, everybody.
Now that you're a married woman, you can tell us something about your new status.
I'm still the same, even if I rely on David for many things. But I want to tell you about my future job.
Oh, yes, please. Our students would be delighted to hear about it.
As you know, I want to be a teacher at a high school or university. And to do this, there are certain things I must accomplish. To be qualified to teach at a high school or university, you must have a university degree.
Well, you've already graduated from college.
Yes, and you did quite well. Are there any other requirements?
When I was in college, I had to take certain courses about pedagogy to prepare me for teaching. Since I have decided to teach at the high school level, for now, I also will specialize in and teach English literature.
Well, what do you mean, specialize?
When I say specialize, I mean that English literature is my specialty, and it is the area in which I have the most knowledge and interest. At the elementary school, teachers teach all subjects.
What else do you have to do to be a teacher?
Another part of the preparation in college was my role as a student teacher. In the last year of university, I spent a lot of time in a local high school helping a real teacher and also getting the opportunity to teach. After I graduated from university and finished my student teaching, I had to take an exam given by the state. Each state has a similar exam, and you must do well in this test to be qualified to teach.
The student teaching sounds interesting. What did you learn?
One of the things I learned while doing my student teaching was about the relationship between students and teachers. Of course, teachers and students are all different, but I found it difficult at times to maintain discipline. I lacked authority because I was so near in age to my students. Also, I will have to be responsible for taking attendance and giving grades, which is sometimes difficult. Still, most of the students are very nice.
Do you think you will teach in the high school for long?
I think that after a couple of years of teaching in the high school, I will try to teach in the university. I must have at least a master's degree. This will take at least 2 more years, probably 3 since I will study at night.
Do you think there will be much difference between teaching at the high school and teaching at the university?
Oh yes, at university the situation is quite different from teaching at high school. Students are given much more responsibility, and discipline is seldom a problem in the university. Teachers are also given much more freedom and are encouraged to do research. They can also write journals and books.
What about the relationship between students and teachers at university?
Since the students are more mature, the relationship between teachers and students is easier. I think I will like teaching at university, but first I must get experience at a high school and also study and finish my master's degree.
Well, good. Goodbye.
Bye.
My dear Alice, time goes by so quickly. Charles is working hard, and I fear he's not going to write to me anymore. And you're going to get married. And next year I'm going to college, to the University of Pomid. Everything changes. In the morning, I wash. I dry myself. I comb my hair and get dressed as usual. But I don't enjoy doing it. I'm so sad. The last straw was the party we had at our English teacher's house with all my classmates a few days ago. She also invited our school director, who made a short speech.
Why are you so sad, Elsie? You should be happy. You did well in all your exams. Now you have an exciting future in front of you.
We were all so sad and tried to console one another. I wasn't able to control myself, so I went to the bathroom and started crying.
Oh, you're here. What are you doing? Oh no, your makeup is all smeared. Why don't you wash your face and make yourself all pretty again? Everybody's waiting for you. Have you forgotten your speech? You promised to say something in English.
I felt better ever since then. I've no longer felt that sense of loss. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to lose you. We can stay friends. I looked at myself in the mirror. I really looked a mess. I washed my face. And redid my makeup. I don't want you to lose you or the group. Let's stay friends, okay?
Of course we'll stay friends. You can't drop out of the group now. You can set an example for the new generation of students. You can help them. You still have a lot to do. There aren't many students who are as good as you in the group. Do you still intend to become a psychologist?
Yes, I think so. Even if I'm fond of computers like my father, I have so many things to do. Swimming, college, the group, computers, looking after the baby, Aunt Charlotte, Mom, they all depend on me.
Let's get back to the others.
What were you doing with Mrs. Stevens? I've noticed that you two have been awfully close the last few months. Is that true?
Well, I didn't say anything. I didn't answer her. I controlled myself, but it was rather difficult. I'd rather have insulted her. Envy is a human feeling, and if I want to be a psychologist instead of a computer programmer, I'd have to live with it.
Speech! 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 Who's gonna make it? Elsie! 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 Elsie!
Come on, Elsie. You aren't very tall. Why don't you stand on the chair or on the table?
Well, director, dear teacher, and dear classmates, sadly we have to part. But this is not a farewell. It's only a promise to keep in touch. At this age, which is one of the best in my life. Dear Alice, the speech was very successful. Shall I become a psychologist, a computer programmer, or perhaps an actress or a politician? Who knows? Only the future can tell. Your friend, Elsie.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome back. We have already given you an extensive explanation of the reflexive pronouns, so we won't repeat it now.
Reflexive pronouns.
But there are, of course, a few things to remind our students. Do you remember that the reflexive pronouns
Are used with certain verbs as indirect objects to emphasize the subject, object, preceded by the preposition by, meaning alone.
Did you enjoy yourself last night? She is looking at herself in the mirror. I did it myself. I talked to the president himself. She did it by herself, or she did it alone. Reflexive verbs.
Not all languages have the same reflexive verbs. The most common in English are
To accustom oneself equals to get used to. To amuse oneself, to feel pleasure. To enjoy oneself, to have a nice time. To apply oneself, to be occupied in something. To avail oneself, to take advantage of. To control oneself, to be careful of doing or not doing something. To cut oneself, to do harm to oneself with something that cuts. To help oneself, to take one's meal at table. To hurt oneself, to do harm to oneself. To look at oneself equals to observe oneself, to kill oneself, to cause one's own death. Note, if there is an object, the reflexive pronoun is not used. I enjoyed myself last night, but did you enjoy the film?
Revision.
Modern English tends to drop the reflexive pronouns when possible, especially for repeated usual actions, with verbs like
to wash, to dress, to behave, to dry, to shave, to hide, to stretch.
I quickly wash my face with soap. I dry myself with the towel.
When talking about parts of the body, the reflexive pronoun is omitted. The possessive pronoun is used instead, plus part of the body. For example, I cut my face. Face is a part of the body. I wash my hands. Hands are a part of the body.
Verbs that are not reflexive in English.
These verbs are not reflexive in English.
Note, to get plus adjective or adverb is not reflexive. To apologize equals to ask someone to excuse you. To move equals to go from one place to another. To feel equals to have a sensation, a feeling. To rush equals to hurry up. To wonder equals to be astonished for something. To worry equals to be preoccupied.
When he tramples on somebody, He never apologizes. He rushed as much as he could, but he didn't arrive in time, all the same.
And many others are not reflexive in the English language.
To wake up. To fall asleep. To turn round. To hurry up. To stand up. To fall in love. To sit down. Add the reflexive pronoun when necessary and complete the sentences with the key words.
In the morning I wash, I comb my hair, and I get dressed, but I don't enjoy doing it. In the morning, when I wake up, I wash, and I look at myself in the mirror. When my teacher speaks, I usually feel very moved. I wasn't able to control myself. So I went to the bathroom and started crying. Your makeup is all smeared. You should make up your face again. Why don't you wash your face and make yourself all pretty again? I've felt better ever since then. I've no longer felt that sense of loss. Of course we'll stay friends. You can't drop out of the group now. I controlled myself, but it was rather difficult. I'd rather have insulted her. Come on, Elsie. You aren't very tall. Maybe you should stand on the table.
Do not mix up the reciprocal pronouns with the reflexive pronouns.
Reciprocal pronouns. The reciprocal pronouns are one another for general statements, each other indicating particular people.
They stared at each other angrily. They stared at one another, smiling.
Correct the wrong pronouns where necessary. I did it myself.
We were all too sad and tired to console one another or each other. Why don't you wash your face and make yourself pretty again?
We all usually fall asleep around at midnight.
I looked at myself in the mirror. I really looked like a mess. We looked at each other. I didn't say anything. I didn't answer her.
Now, a very important topic concerning the structure of the English language. We are going to talk about
prepositional and phrasal verbs. In English, many verbs have two parts: the verb plus a preposition or an adverb particle. The meaning of the two-part verb can be a combination of the meaning of the two parts.
To look at. The teacher looked at me and smiled.
Elsie lives with her family. The meaning of the two-part verb can be intensified by the second part.
To wake up. We all wake up early. To hurry up. If you don't hurry up, you'll be late.
The two-part verb can have a completely different meaning from either of the two parts. To put off equals to postpone. Alice put off talking to her mother about her plans. To look after equals to take care of. Who is looking after the baby?
Elsie is.
When the verb is followed by a preposition, it is called a prepositional verb, and it must have an object. To stand on. Elsie stood on the table. Object.
To walk into. Mrs. Stevens walked into the room. Object.
When the verb is used with an adverb particle, it is called a phrasal verb.
To go by. Time goes by so quickly. To get up. When do you usually get up?
Note, when a phrasal verb has a direct object, the adverb particle can usually come either before or after the direct object. To take off. She took off her jacket, or she took her jacket off. But if the direct object is a pronoun, the adverb particle must go after the direct object. To take off. She took it off.
Now it's getting even more difficult. Listen.
Three-part verbs. Some verbs have three parts. Verb plus adverb particle plus preposition. They are called phrasal prepositional verbs and are used like prepositional verbs. To drop out of. Elsie doesn't want to drop out of the group.
To get back to. Let's get back to the others.
Also, to, as well, neither. We are nearly at the end of our lesson, so we must point out to our students everything we can, so that they have a very clear idea in their heads. Note the meaning and construction of the following. Also, to, and as well, all have similar meanings, but are used in different ways. As well and to are usually found at the end of the sentence. Look at these examples. Miss Stevens teaches French as well. Miss Stevens teaches French too. Notice that these are both found at the end of the sentence. To can be placed also just after the subject. Miss Stevens too belongs to the anti-drug abuse group. Also is more common in written English. In simple verbal forms, it goes before the verb. In compound forms, before the past participle.
Look at these. I also go to school. I have also gone to school. They play cards and also tennis.
Also, as well, and to are not used in negative sentences. Instead, we use not, either, neither.
Let's look at these examples. I play cards. He plays cards too. In the negative, I don't play cards. Neither does he. Here, they like him as well. In the negative, they don't like him either.
In the following sentences, put to, as well, also, not, either, in the right place.
She also invited our school director, who made a short speech. They are intelligent as well. John isn't there. Elsie isn't there either. We have also bought all those books. We went to the party and they came too. They don't want any sugar in their tea. Neither do I.
Well, first of all, some irregular verbs.
To cut, cut, cut. To hide, hid, hidden. To hurt, hurt, hurt. To lose, lost, lost. To set, set, set. To set an example.
You can't drop out of the group now. You can set an example for the new generation of students. You can help them.
Now a list of some of the most commonly used prepositional and phrasal verbs used up to now.
To wake up. To hurry up. To sit down. To stand up. To stand on. To come across. To throw away. To live with. To look at. To look after.
To look is quite a complicated verb. Look here, for example. To look plus adjective. To look at. To look after. To look for. To look like.
Elsie is looking for her English grammar. Sar looked very strange that day.
You look like a mess. You look as if you were lost. Look at this.
Now for some special expressions. To stay friends.
Yes, let's stay friends, okay? Okay?
To keep in touch.
Sadly, we have to part. But this is not a farewell. It's only a promise to keep in touch.
To be fond of equals to like something.
Even if I'm fond of computers like my father, I have so many things to do.
To depend on someone, something.
Looking after the baby, Aunt Charlotte, Mom, they all depend on me.
Adverbs. Awfully equals terribly.
What were you doing with Mrs. Stevens? I've noticed that you two have been awfully close the last few months. Is that true?
Well, now our part of the lesson's through, and we're waiting for Miss Stevens to arrive. There she is now.
Hello, Miss Stevens.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity today. I think these in-depth explanations can be of great help to your students.
Well, is there anything in particular that you're going to point out today?
Yes. First of all, I wanted to say that I think you've taught this lesson quite well today. But today I wanted to point out that reflexive verbs are not the same in all languages. Reflexive pronouns refer to the subject, so the subject and the object of the sentence are the same. In English, the reflexive pronoun can be admitted with the verbs of habitual daily actions such as to wash, to shave, etc. So we say, I shave, not I shave myself. In English, we say, I comb my hair. But in French, you say, je me peigne. In Spanish, yo me peño. In Italian, io mi pettino. In Russian, я причесываюсь. They're all reflexive verbs.
Have you got any examples of other non-reflexive verbs in English which are reflexive in other languages?
Let me see. Yes, hurry up. Hurry up means go faster. Try to go as fast as you can. In English, it isn't a reflexive verb. In Italian, it is, by the way, io mi affretto. In Spanish, yo me impresso. In French, je me dépêche. In Russian, я тороплюсь. In German, ich beeile mich.
How smart of you to make all these clever comparisons.
Well, it can be helpful in learning languages.
Do you know lots of languages?
Well, quite a few, but that's not important. Let's get back to reflexive pronouns. Remember that when we're talking about something we do to our own bodies, we don't use personal pronouns or reflexive pronouns. We use possessive adjectives. He broke his leg. She cut her hair.
It's very, very interesting and useful. Thank you so much, Mrs. Stevens, for coming.
Thank you.
Time to go.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Dear Elsie, I know you wait impatiently for my letters because you too are so fond of animals. But I have a lot of work, so at night I'm too tired to write. Well, I'll tell you what happened yesterday. While I was at the stables, there was a very delicate situation. We were concerned that our best racehorse might not be able to race the next day, and he was expected to be the winner.
Charles. Ah, you're here. What a nice surprise. Have you come by car or by bike?
Of course I've come by car, otherwise I wouldn't have travelled so far.
Is it so far? Only lazy people travel by car. Can't you see I've got my bike here?
I was studying hard, but the sunshine was so inviting I told myself, what a beautiful day. Why shouldn't I go and see Charles and his horses? Oh, Mr. Everett, I'm so pleased to see you. You're at home with the racehorses? Yes, Charles and I have the same passion.
Well, I prefer horses to cows. But of course I have to care for the cows too sometimes. Horses are my favorite animals, so I'm really very glad when I can visit them.
Sure, a horse is like a man. It's more than a woman. You can't trust women.
Don't contradict him about women. His wife's just run off with her lover.
Oh, a new Lady Chatterley. You are lucky, aren't you, that on this dairy farm they also have this riding stable with racehorses. It's a pity I'm not going to get a degree as a vet, so I could join you and help you.
I don't know if they need another vet.
Oh, you waited quite a long time for this job, but I think it's the best one you could have found.
Oh yes, here we have marvellous horses. These are special breeding stables, and here it's supposed they are all winners. We are in England, you know, and horses are everywhere, and cows too. At the dairy, they have some very modern systems. At the dairy farm, they carry out experiments on cows, and there's a very sophisticated computer control. The cow is milked by a lever.
Things change so quickly. What's happened to this horse? Is it hurt?
The hoof and tendon are probably damaged. I must check. Just a moment. There's going to be a race tomorrow, and this wonderful stallion is supposed to be the winner. It hurt itself yesterday, and they're afraid it won't be able to run. I'll see what I can do.
Let's hope in a miracle, otherwise we're all ruined.
Do you think you can make the miracle?
Well, I'll see what I can do. They know I've got a magic touch, so they call me now instead of the other vets at the firm.
Well, I hope you succeed.
I must. And I will.
Will you come to the race tomorrow night? I'm sure Dr. Charles will succeed.
Well...
Oh, don't be modest.
1 minute.
The miracle happened. It won. That's all for now. Cheerio, Charles.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello. So, students, I hope I'm quite familiar to you, and you understand well my pronunciation. I would really like to tell you something about England and London, as well as British habits. But I'm afraid we won't have time to do it today.
No, that's right. Everything will be done at the right time, and, we plan things very well, and you'll have time to talk about this later.
The problem is that we are pressed for time. Or have I told you that already?
Yes, you have, but never mind, it's true.
You mentioned that you'd planned a general revision. I think it's a good idea to have a global outlook on what we have done.
Yes, I'll discuss this better later on with you, but first let's look at something new.
So let's talk about the main topic of the unit.
Right. The construction of a sentence is a very important topic to discuss. Let's start with it as we had planned.
Of course. Now we're going to talk about the word order in a sentence. We have talked about the position of the adverbs, of time, and the position of adjectives. And about nouns used as adjectives and their position.
But we haven't pointed out the order of adjectives before a noun when there are two or more of them.
Order of adjectives before a noun. In a sentence where several adjectives come before a noun, the adjective that goes right before the noun is the one indicating purpose. A riding stable. A tennis racket. Before the adjectives indicating purpose, there are the adjectives indicating what something is made of. A brick riding stable. A wooden tennis racket. Before the adjectives indicating what something is made of, there are adjectives telling where a thing comes from. A British brick riding stable. A Japanese wooden tennis racket. Color adjectives come before those telling where a thing comes from. A red Chinese flag. A yellow Japanese scarf. Adjectives indicating shape, size, age, temperature, etc. come before the ones previously indicated. An old red Chinese flag. A big yellow Japanese silk scarf. Put the adjectives in the right place. What a nice surprise. I was studying hard, but the sunshine was very bright and warm, and I told myself, what a beautiful day. You are lucky, aren't you, that on this dairy farm they also have this wonderful riding stable with race horses. Oh, you waited quite a long time for this job, but I think it's the best job you could have found. Oh, yes. Here we have marvelous Canadian racehorses. This is a brown Vietnamese leather jacket. They know I've got a magic touch, so they call me now instead of the other vets in our firm. At our stables, they have wonderful black and white Canadian stallions.
We have time to point out some other interesting details, don't we?
There are still so many rules and expressions that our students don't know yet.
Yes, there is such a tense atmosphere as if we feared missing some important things.
We will certainly leave something out, but I hope we won't leave anything that's too important. For example, we could give some more information about such and so.
Such and so.
Such and so are often used in the following ways.
Such is used either before a noun preceded by an adjective or before a noun without an adjective.
It's such a beautiful horse. It was such fun.
So is used before adjectives or adverbs without a noun.
I am so upset because this stallion is hurt.
The station is so near.
So has also several other ways of being used.
Note.
Pay attention, please. So am I, so do I, so have I, meaning me too.
He can ride a horse very well. So can I. He has forgotten the name of this horse. So have I.
We were horse riding in the country. So were they.
So is used after several verbs to mean something already expressed. The most common verbs are to believe, to think, to guess, to imagine, to suppose. Do you think this horse is going to win? I think so.
Note the negative form of this structure, which is also possible.
Do you think this horse is going to win? I don't think so. Or, I think not.
To say so means to say or tell this or that thing. For example, who says so? I say so.
The horse is going to win. Who says so? He says so.
So is also used as a conjunction, meaning therefore, in this way, etc.
They made a noise, so I knew they were there.
So much and so many follow the same rules as much and many.
There are so many horses here at the stables. There is so much sugar left in the jar that you needn't buy any. Do used to emphasize. Well, I hope you succeed.
Do is used to emphasize. For example, well, I hope you succeed. Or more strongly, well, I do hope you succeed. Yes, the verb to do in this sense is not an auxiliary, but is used to emphasize, to give a stronger meaning to a wish, a hope, etc.
Fill in the blanks. I know you wait impatiently for my letters, but I have a lot of work, so at night I am too tired to write. Well, I do wish you would come.
There is so much noise that nobody can study in here.
Is it so far? It was such a hard time for everybody. I was studying hard, but the sunshine was so inviting. Things change so quickly. What happened to this horse? Is it hurt?
There are so many students that don't get prepared properly for their exams. He is such a fool not to do his duty.
And.
The determiner and, as you know, is used to connect terms that are similar. For example, he is naughty and aggressive. Or, I play the piano and she plays the violin.
Special use of and instead of the infinitive. And can be used instead of an infinitive of purpose after verbs like to come, to stop, to go, to run, and a few others. Maybe I'll come and see you tomorrow. Let's go to the pub and have a drink. Note, the infinitive is also correct. Will you come to watch the race tomorrow night? Or, will you come and watch the race tomorrow night? Make sentences using the key words. Open the blinds and see if it's raining. Anthony always comes and visits me when I am at the stables.
Don't disappoint Aunt Charlotte, Elsie. Go and see her immediately. Revision.
Uses of the present perfect simple and of the present perfect progressive. The present perfect progressive focuses on the continuation of the activity. It is not important whether the action has finished or not. The present perfect simple is often used to emphasize the results of the action or the fact that the action has been completed. We use the progressive form to talk about how long something has been happening. We use the simple form to say how much or how many times we have done something. Uses of the past perfect simple and of the past perfect progressive. The past perfect simple is used when there is the idea of an earlier past, to talk about something which has already happened at the time to which we are referring. The past perfect progressive is used to talk about long actions which have been going on up to the moment in the past we are talking about. Remember that there are verbs that cannot be used in the progressive tenses. Fill in the blanks.
I have been studying English since the beginning of junior high school. He has been working at Polymilk since the 10th of July. This whiskey has been manufactured since 1932. I have been studying English for 5 years.
Elsie has been working in the drug abuse prevention group for several years. She has been waiting for her child for 2 hours when finally she arrived. I have been living in Pomade for 2 months now.
I have lived in Pomid since I was born.
He's eaten all my biscuits. The box is empty.
You've been eating too much lately, Aunt Charlotte. You should go on a diet.
She was sad because she hadn't received any letters from her pen friends. When David arrived, Alice had been watching television for several hours.
I've watched television every night this week. Alice loves David. When the plane landed, I was angry because I had been waiting since 7 o'clock.
I have been riding my bike for 1 hour.
These two verbs are slightly different in meaning. Try to understand the difference. To believe in someone, to have a faith or a belief. To trust someone, to give him credit.
He believes in God.
He doesn't trust me. Elsie doesn't trust her brother when he promises to give her back the English grammar book.
Verbs with personal and impersonal forms. To be supposed to plus infinitive. To be thought to plus infinitive. Here it's supposed they are all winners. Or they are supposed to be winners. Or they are thought to be all winners.
Race, racehorse, stallion. Breeding, stables, horse.
Farm. To succeed in something or in doing something.
Charles will succeed in making a miracle happen.
To expect plus object plus infinitive with to. To be expected plus infinitive with to.
I expect Elsie to be the best at her examination.
That stallion was expected to be the winner. To prefer something to something else.
Well, I prefer horses to cows. But of course I have to care for the cows too sometimes.
To contradict someone about something.
Don't contradict him about women. His wife's just run off with her lover.
Oh, a new little chattel.
To care for equals to look after.
But of course I have to care for the cows too sometimes. Horses are my favorite animals, so I'm really very glad when I can visit them.
To carry, to hold, to transport. To carry out, to proceed with.
At the dairy, they have some very modern systems. At the dairy farm, they carry out experiments on cows, and there's a very sophisticated computer control.
It's almost 11 o'clock, and that Charles is late.
Is he coming then?
Yes, I invited him to come after his visit to the farm. He's going to talk about his interesting job working with animals and about horses.
Oh, I adore horses. Horse racing. And I love horse riding.
Is that you, Charles?
Yes, it's me.
Well, come on in.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late, but I had to visit the stables. One of the horses is ill.
Oh dear, it's not serious, is it?
No, I don't think so. He's all right. He had a very important race yesterday. I think he was just tired.
Did you go to the races yesterday?
Of course I did. I never miss the races. I love them. Horses, as you know, are my passion, after my bicycle.
The English and their horses. Tell me a little bit about your horses.
Well, in the past, horses were used as a simple means of transport. They also worked hard in the fields, so they were considered very important. Nowadays, however, we have machinery which does all our farm work, and which we use for transportation. And the horse has become a thing of beauty, something to enjoy. We look after our horses and make them beautiful. We train them to run as fast as the wind. Horses have become very valuable.
How much would a horse cost?
Well, a good racehorse would cost millions of pounds.
Oh, tell me something about horse racing, Charles.
You mean the sport of kings? Well, horse racing is very popular in Britain. There are races almost every day. You can watch them at the racetrack or at home on television.
Do you watch the races on television, Charles?
No, I always go to the racetrack. It's more exciting. There is a very famous racetrack near where I live. Did you know? It's called Ascot. And every year, the British royal family come to Ascot to watch the races. They all love horses. The Queen goes to the races. She owns many horses. Prince Charles plays polo, a type of hockey played on horseback. And Princess Anne is a champion cross-country rider. She's very good. Did you know that she has even represented Britain at the Olympic Games?
There are lots of different sports for horses, aren't there?
Yes, but my favorite is horse racing. Everybody likes it, rich and poor. We all love horse racing in England.
But isn't it boring to watch horses running around the track?
Not at all. In fact, we make it even more interesting by betting on which horse will win.
Betting? How does that work?
Oh, I know that. I sometimes bet on horses. You go to the betting shop and pay, for example, £10 on the horse you think will win. The betting shop decides the chances of each horse's winning and fixes the betting price. So if your horse's price is 2 to 1 and you bet £10, you'll get £20 if the horse wins. A horse which is very unlikely to win will have a price of, say, 20 to 1. But if that horse wins, you will get £200.
That's interesting, but it must be difficult to guess which one will win.
Not if you know the horses. I win very often.
Really? How much did you win yesterday?
Well, yesterday, actually, I lost £50.
Well, at least you're honest. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Dear Elsie, I'm married now, and David and I are here visiting my mom.
Oh, there's David's car. I recognize the sound. Well, now that they're here, we can play cards.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Paulette, I haven't had time to tell you before. You look great. What have you done to yourself?
She's signed a new contract. Happiness makes her look even younger and more beautiful than she usually does.
Where is she going to sing?
In Johannesburg and in Pretoria. She's invited me to go to South Africa with her.
What a good idea. That way you won't feel lonely, at least as long as you stay with her.
Well, we'll see. I've got so many things to do here, now that you're married. How long have you been married? Bring me some water at once, please.
Mom, what a silly question. Don't you remember our wedding was 2 weeks ago?
Oh, yes, I should remember that.
Paulette's invitation is a wonderful idea. What have you got to do here? The help will take care of the house.
I can't go to South Africa. I'm sure I'd get sick there. I wouldn't have my doctor or my psychoanalyst.
You and your doctors, you won't get sick there. Maybe you'll get over all your silly problems.
That's what you always say. I didn't ask for your opinion. Who won the tennis match?
Well, it certainly wasn't me. He won. I lost 3-6, 3-6, 3-6. I haven't practiced much because Alice takes up so much of my time.
Well, she should. That's what you got married for.
She doesn't want me to play tennis every day as I used to. Isn't that right, honey?
Oh, she's right. Men should be kept in line right from the beginning. I just hope she won't be as permissive as I've been. Look at me now. I'm a lonely woman.
I don't think that's a good way to hold on to a man. Don't forget, that wouldn't work with me.
Would the tennis champion like to play cards? Paulette, we found our third player. We can start now.
I don't need to be tied down, sweetheart. I'm completely at your mercy.
I'm not keeping you tied down. It's just the opposite.
Don't be silly. Why are you getting angry? It's just that I love you so much and I don't want to miss a single moment that I could spend with you.
Oh, David, it's so wonderful. Hopefully, Mom will accept the invitation so we can go to New York and then on to Europe.
It doesn't matter. We'll go anyway. After all, it's our honeymoon.
A long honeymoon, first to the mountains, then to New York, and then to Europe. It seems like a dream. Let's get back to the group. We can't leave Rick all alone with those two.
But he manages so well. He's used to taming wild animals.
Oh, how funny. But you're right. They're more frightening than lions, that's for sure.
Look, isn't this a great hand? Oh, I'm not going to South Africa. I'm going to organize a bridge tournament. And Rick is going to help me. So I'm going to be busy for quite a while.
Is this true? Or is she joking? Have you really agreed to do this?
I don't know how my mother convinced Rick, but she's quite happy for the time being. Let's hope it lasts. Lots of love, Alice.
Hello, welcome back.
Hi. Today we're going to look at punctuation, those little symbols we find in every sentence when reading or writing, and it's necessary to know how to use them and what to call them, of course.
Punctuation? Something I thought you'd done with our younger colleague.
No. At the beginning we were eager to teach as much grammar as possible, so I made the decision to leave this for a later lesson.
Punctuation.
So, time for punctuation has arrived. And let's start with the full stop or period.
Full stop or period.
The full stop or period in the United States is used to show the end of a sentence. My name is Alice, full stop. Her name is Elsie, full stop. It's also used to show abbreviations, etc., full stop. Dr. Jones, auxiliary verb.
Comma.
The comma divides parts of a sentence that are not directly part of the main sentence. For example, here is the comma. The man, who was Italian, said his name was Mario. Notice the comma here. This part divides from the rest of the sentence. Who was Italian? Well, I don't know.
Colon.
Now look at this. This is the colon. The colon is used to join two sentences which are both complete. to show examples. Vocabulary. Full stop, comma, colon.
Semicolon.
What's next?
Well, there could be the semicolon. The semicolon is a weaker form of the colon. For example, this sentence is too difficult to understand. You could write the same thing in a simpler way.
Question mark.
Well, what's this?
That's the question mark.
Exclamation mark or exclamation point.
Look at this question. Are you Mr. Smith? Notice the question mark.
And notice this exclamation point.
We say exclamation mark.
Come here immediately. This mark, or point, is used at the end of sentences indicating a command, a surprise, an exclamation. Be careful.
Brackets or parentheses, parentheses.
Brackets in British English or parentheses, which we use in American or British English, divide sentences in certain words which form no part of the main sentence. They can also be used for comments, interjections and examples.
Dash and hyphen.
Now let's look at the dash and hyphen. These have a similar symbol, but are used in different ways. For example, the dash. We'll be arriving on Tuesday morning. At least I hope so. Here, the dash is used like a colon. Down here we see an example of the hyphen. Co-presenter, for example, or riding helmet. The hyphen divides two words that are joined together. The hyphen can also be used at the end of a sentence when a word finishes the sentence. For example, if government was at the end of a sentence and you didn't have space, you would put a hyphen here and then at the end continue with meant.
Inverted commas or quotation marks.
Look at these. These are quotation marks.
Or inverted commas in British English. Is there anything else that hasn't been explained yet? Oh, I wish English were easier.
Well, there's something else. You have just used the subjunctive.
Oh, our students might think there isn't any subjunctive in English. Don't you think so?
Subjunctive.
The subjunctive in English is being less and less used in informal style. But you are right. We must say something about it.
The present of the subjunctive is formed from the infinitive without to, and it's the same for all subjects. It's used mainly in exclamations, in poems, or in a very formal language.
God save the Queen. God bless you. The Lord be with you. Long live the President. Whatever be the reason you do this, we will not condemn you.
The past of the subjunctive is the same as the past simple, except for the verb to be. The past subjunctive of to be is were for all subjects.
She wishes she were more beautiful. If I lived in the country, I could be very happy.
The past subjunctive is used to talk about events that are not certain to happen, but it's hoped or imagined they will happen. The past subjunctive is often used after if, or words which have a similar meaning to if, like imagine, suppose, as if, and I wish.
I wish he were more attentive to the teacher. Or, I wish he was more attentive to the teacher. If I were, or if I was a politician, I would put an end to all wars.
Verb tenses to use with the subjunctive.
A form of conditional sentence must go with the subjunctive were plus infinitive. Look at this example.